Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Goodness John. Today we'll be making these corsets. I have a video where I drafted it if you're interested. So the first thing I'm going to do is to iron interfacing on all the pieces. So the main piece and the lining piece as well. So I've cut out the interfacing and then that's one for each. So I use the same fabric to cut the main fabric and cut the lining. You can use a different fabric for lining if you want. So I'm now going to go and iron interfacing on each of these pieces. So because this fabric is, the front and back is pretty similar, I'm just going to be using a chalk to indicate where is the back so I don't mix it up. So after I'm done ironing it to the back, I'll iron it on the front and then just use mine to ensure that it is properly glued together to the main fabric. So avoid any bumps, I'll make it look tacky. So now I've attached the interfacing for all the pieces and this is what it looks like. So 2 for the main fabric, 2 for the lining. Next I'll take my center front and my side front and sew it together. I'll do this for both the lining and the main fabric and both sides, so I'm just attaching all the fronts together. So this is what it's going to look like. So when you're sewing corset, ensure that you label your pieces just so that you don't mix it up. So I'm just arranging it to show you what it looked like by the time I attach it. So I've sewn for the main fabric and for the lining, and this is what it looks like. So I just have 2 pieces of this because I use the same fabric for lining and for main fabric. Next I'm going to attach the back pieces as well. So center back to side back. So I've gone and sewn it. The next thing I'm going to do is to take my scissors and notch all the, so because it has like a curve, by the time I sew it, it's not going to sit well, so I need to notch these sides where it curves in. So I'm just going to do that for all the pieces. Next I'm going to iron all the pieces open, like all the joinings. I'll iron it on the inside and iron it on the outside, so just make sure it balances and sits properly. So next I'm going to attach the front to the back pieces. I'm going to use the allowance that I left to join it. So I'll just arrange the pieces together to ensure it's sitting well. So now I'm just going to measure 1.5 along the side because this is the allowance that I added when I was cutting the fabric. So I'm just going to measure this on both sides. So next I'm going to arrange this and then pin it together. So I've done that for the main fabric and for the lining. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and join the back to the front pieces. So now I've joined the sides together. So the next thing I'm going to do is trim off the excess and then iron the sides up. Then I'll iron it across the front as well. Next, I'm going to sew my wedging boning on the lines. So you're going to decide if you want your boning on the main fabric or on the lining. I want mine on the main fabric, so that's where I'm going to be attaching it on. So I'm going to use masking tape to seal the top so it doesn't poke whoever is wearing it. And then I'm going to cut it half an inch, give it half an inch space at the bottom and at the top so it doesn't affect my sewing. I'll do that for the fabric, so I'm just putting masking tape around the edges. I'll do this for each line. I'll measure, make it half an inch shorter at the top and half an inch shorter at the bottom, and then I'll use masking tape to seal it before I go take it to the machine to attach the boning on the fabric. So I'm just going to sew it on the sides. So I'll stitch on both sides of the boning. I'll do that for the main fabric and the lining. So all the joinings I'm going to attach wedging boning to, and this is what it looks like. So now I'm coupling lining to main fabric. So I'm joining so I'll just sew across the top and leaving the curve, the bust cup curve out of it. So I'm just sewing the top from the side to the center to the other side. So this center is a V because it's going to dip a bit towards the center, like sweetheart's neckline, a bit. That's why it's a V. Next, I'm going to sew the other side all the way to the end. sew the sides down. So joining the main fabric to the lining, I'll sew it all the way to the down, like the bottom of the corset. I'll do this for both sides. I'll leave the bottom side open because I'm going to use bias tape. So now, because I'm going to have eyelets, I need reinforcement at the center back. So I'm going to use this plastic boning. I just shaped it so that it doesn't poke and just giving a smooth curve. So it's going to be at this edge, and then I'm going to put it on another side, so like half an inch away from where I've placed this one, just enough space for the eyelets to go in. So the measurement between the two boning is going to be dependent on how big your eyelet is. I'm just marking where the boning will go, so based on the size of the boning. So I'll mark it for the edge and the other side between the eyelets, so in between the two, and then I will just go and sew on the line that I'm marking. So I've sewn the casing, so where the boning will go. So now I'm just going to fix the boning into these two spaces for both sides. Once I get it all the way to the edge, I'll push it out and then cut it, so reducing it by half of an inch. Next, I'm going to do this for all 4 boning casings. Next, we'll work on the cup. We're going to be covering the cup with the lace and the underlace. So I already have a video where I covered this cup because I didn't want this video too long. So I will link that in the description box. So now this is my bra cup. So I'm just going to attach the bra cup to the corset. So do you notice how the bra cup seems a bit longer than the corset because of that dip? So I eventually had to, so once I sewed it, I eventually had to loosen the bra cup to fit the measurements. When you're doing yours, try to fit the bra cup to the curve to see if it fits. To avoid this trimming that I'm doing, so I'm doing twice the work because I have to loosen it and seal that part that I'm going to trim. So to avoid that, just fit it first before you cover the cup. So I had to trim it and then open the cup and reseal it again, and then reattach it. So this is what it looks like after I've cut it up and sewn it. The next thing I'm going to do is to use a tape to tape the bottom of it. So I've ironed my bias tape, so I'm just going to sew it from the inside and then sew it on top. So I've attached the bias tape at the bottom, and this is what it's looking like. Now for knit finishing, the bust area that I attached to the curve, I'm going to use a bias tape as well. I'll sew it on the inside and then sew it on top, and this is where you put the underwire if you're going to use underwire. I hope this video has been helpful and easy to follow. Thank you all for watching, and see you in my next video.